Be warned, my friends, there be spoilers ahead. Not that I think most people actually care about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but I am going to include in this segment conversation about how I think the Black Panther movie is extremely racist, and in that I will be spoiling some key elements of it. I was talking to Dave Landau, the comedian, and it was just so funny. I kind of wish we record some of the banter before the show because it's hilarious. But we'll get into all that. First, here's the news. University of California, Santa Barbara's Black Students Union holds free Black Panther Wakanda Forever screening, but asks white students not to attend. Yeah, because, diversity, but like not that kind of diversity. The kind of diversity where everyone is of the same race, I guess. The screening event was described as a Black-centered activity curated to support and affirm Black people and Black joy. The school's media relations department denied that Wednesday's event was exclusive and said no student is precluded from registering or attending. There have been a number of segregated or racially preferential events revolving around the movie's release on college campuses. The original Black Panther movie and its sequel became moments of specific cultural significance for the Black community. That one feels like an opinion. I mean, it may be considering they're doing these events, but let me just break it down for you. If they're going to ask white students not to attend and then say, but we didn't force them not to. Okay, dude. Yeah, okay, right. So if a bunch of white people put up a big sign saying, like, we'd prefer it if people of specific race didn't enter the building, they're going to walk right in and be like, well, no, this seems like a place that I want to be. No, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm probably going to stay away from that because these people are nuts. But this is what you get at universities. Now, I must attest to the fact that this movie is insanely racist, okay? First, okay, I love talking about this, so you're going to hear it again. But, so there's a scene, right? Queen Ramonda goes to the UN or whatever, and she's like, I will not give you vibranium. And they're like, Arr. And so they're returning to Wakanda. And, Wakanda it's got a force field, right? And so what happens is it shows two black guys. Drums slide out, like wood panel drums with water, and they start banging on the drums, and that opens the force field. And I'm just thinking, like, are you kidding? Like, yo, they know how to drive cars and use buttons, dude. Like, it's just so insanely racist that in their minds, the minds of the creators of this film, these Disney people or whatever, they're of the mind that if black people in Africa were not colonized, they would have developed technology based on drumming. Yeah, dude, come on. That's like so incredibly racist. Native Americans have drums. White people have drums. White people play drums all the time. In Europe, they played snare drums. There's no trope of like white people expanding and deciding that playing the drums was the appropriate way to make computers work. But anyway, apparently, because the movie is overwhelmingly black cast and centered around Africa, it's supposed to be good and not racist. So there's a kind of paradox in this film, in this entire cultural moment, where you have the Black Students Union cheering this stuff on when the movie, in my opinion, overtly racist. But hey, far be it from me, I'm not black. If y'all like it, I got no beef. But let me just point out, as I pointed out before, so the ship passes through this force field. The force field opens up because they're playing the drums. They're banging out with their hands. And then they come in. And they show you that scene to let you know the most powerful nation in the world, is what Queen Ramonda says, has a force field you can't get in. Except for the Central American guy, Aztec, Mayan. I think he's from Honduras. So they're not really Mexican because Mexico's a country. But they're able to breach Wakanda through the river. So this is what happened. So most of you probably saw the segment I did last time on this. But, so Dave Landau is hanging out. Comedian, he was on the show last night. And before the show, we were talking, like Wakanda Forever comes up. And Ashley St. Clair is there. And she said something about it. And then I said, have you guys seen it? And they were both like, no. And I was like, oh, dude, you guys got to see this movie, And so here's what I said. I said, okay. So it's basically like kind of a Mexican guy, right? Central American, I know, but like we do have a problem with Hondurans and Guatemalans crossing the borders as well, right? So you have the Central American guy who breaches Wakanda, bypassing its great barriers, the most powerful nation in the world, through the river. And they're like, how did he get through the river? And I'm just like, oh no. And Dave's laughing like, no way. Like, come on. And then I said, what's a racial slur for a Central American person crossing into the United States illegally? And everybody understood right away why it's like deeply racist to have a Central American guy breach Wakanda dripping wet rising from the water, because there's like a derogatory term for that. And then the best part was when I was like, so Dave, he knows what it means, like someone who is emerging from the water and they are wet. You get the point. And then I was like, and how do you think they defeated this Central American who broke into their country? And Dave, without a beat, goes, did they dry him off? Yes. And he was like, no, come on. And I was like, yes, they dry him off. And I kid you not, the ending scene is showing his back singed, like water evaporating off of it, and burns. And it goes, oh, and he collapses. And he was like, so it's the greatest movie ever. And I was like, dude, this is what they call diversity. All right. This is diversity. Whatever, man. I feel like watching this movie and you know what else, like Dylan Mulvaney and all this stuff, all this woke stuff they're doing. It's like a throwback to the 20s and like minstrel shows. I'm not kidding. Look, having two black guards, African guards, banging on a drum with like there's water on top of it, and they're like, and then it opens up the force field. I'm like, you got it. That would be like having a Native American running around doing that thing with like woo woo or whatever. It's like these aren't. Wow, who consulted on this? Pretty sure that any culture with digits, right? That's all humans, would decide that buttons make sense and levers. And it's supposed to be like, it's funny because in Black Panther, in Wakanda, they have this like virtual tech, like Tony Stark has the same thing where the computer screen floats in the air or whatever, and they can like spin things. They can like grab an object and move it and then grow and then do all that stuff. And I'm like, so they understand these kinds of controls. They have these wristbands with balls on them. They press a button and it can project holographic images. But you still insist that they're going to bang on drums to open. And this is what they're saying is a celebration. All right. This is what I was saying about Dylan Mulvaney. So you guys probably know Dylan Mulvaney, the individual who was doing the hiking heels thing. And I'm like, come on, they're just making fun of you. Or I guess that's what people really want. So it is, I guess. Take a look at this from the Philadelphia Inquirer. With an indigenous anti-hero, representation takes a step forward in Wakanda forever. I'm just so confused. They're cheering on this depiction of a super-powered Central American who breaks into this country through their river and is wreaking havoc, and they have to dry him off to win. It was really funny when Dave said, do they dry him off? And I was like, yes. And he was like, so it's the greatest movie ever. And I'm like, do you I'm not saying this to him, I'm saying this to you guys. Do you understand why that's a joke? The joke that Dave was making, that it's so insanely racist. Oh, man. Look at this from the Inquirer. Wakanda Forever, the sequel to Black Panther, is a triumph of representation. Are you kidding me? It's like, we try so hard to say, like, we understand why minstrel shows are bad, and we don't want to do that stuff. And then they basically start doing it again, and we're like, okay, like, they're cheering it on. They are cheering it on. Here we go. They say, I saw the first Black Panther in Atlanta. It was packed. Chadwick Boseman. Hey, rest in peace, man. He was a cool dude. But I got it, but I didn't get it. I understood the thrill that comes with seeing yourself reflected on a screen in a position of power. Like Idris Elba in all the movies he's in. Come on, man. It's not like there's no movies with, powerful black characters. Will Smith is a superstar. And most of his movies bomb anyway. Anyway, he says, I understood the thrill that comes in seeing yourself reflected on a screen in the biggest mass entertainment there is, but I still watch from a respectful emotional distance. Wakanda Forever brought me in close. As a Mexican who doesn't think his family line started at Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortez and then proceeded unsullied through New Spain and beyond, I was incredibly proud to see actor Tenoch Huerta play Namor as an anti-colonialist bronze demigod. Even the goofy trappings that date his origin to the golden age of comics, the ankle wings, the pointy ears, the green shorts, cannot undercut the dignified strength the Mexican actor brings to the role. First introduced in 1939's Marvel Comics #1, Namor, they used to call him, was half human, half Atlantean. And so they basically decided to make him Central American, and they say indigenous, but the weird thing is like indigenous. White people are indigenous to Europe. You can call them indigenous, but just Central American. It's like that's who they are. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, they took inspiration from the legendary city of Talocan, a genius idea by director Ryan Coogler, they say. If the original Black Panther showed an African nation able to live up to its full potential unspoiled by colonizers, applying the same wish fulfillment to Mesoamerica now seems obvious. Okay, let me explain something for you. In the lore of this film, what happened was in the 1500s, a bunch of Mayan individuals were suffering the pox and disease from the white settlers. And so their shaman finds this vibranium-enriched plant. He mashes it up and makes some kind of drink with it, which turns the people into fish people. I don't know why. They don't really explain how that makes sense, but hey, it's magic. Movie magic. So all of a sudden, these people are now fish people. They immediately start going, and they jump in the water where they can breathe. One lady was pregnant at the time, so her kid became kind of a hybrid. That is Namor, a.k.a. Kukulkan. Here's the funny thing. When they finally show the city of Talocan, the kids are playing with a ball in a stone hoop, and everything looks like they've never advanced at all. They run around wearing, they're basically mostly naked. They don't have any special technology. They ride whales. They don't have spaceships like Wakanda. Yeah. The only thing they really have technology-wise is a big ball of light in their city that's made of vibranium or something. I don't know. But they have spears. And that's it. So is this movie basically saying that if Central Americans were left to their own devices, they would remain underdeveloped relative to today's cultures? And that's supposed to be not racist? Dude. They say, look, I got to tell you, there's no real way to cut it without it being racist. Like, the other argument is that the only reason that black cultures in Africa didn't succeed and become bastions of great technology was because they didn't have a rare material that no one else had. Like, Wakanda is only successful relative to all other African nations because they had access to a metamaterial. I just feel like you're undercutting these other countries. Like, Kenya is actually really nice. And there were great empires in Africa. You had Shaka Zulu. Dude was a powerful warlord, terrifyingly skilled in combat. But sure, I guess. Anyway, they say it is painful. It is also painful. After all, to see the wonders of Talocan and those in Wakanda before it is to be reminded of thriving real-world civilizations conquered, destroyed, and cast away as subhuman. I don't know if it was the Mayans, I think the Aztecs, but they were like ripping people's hearts out and doing really messed up stuff. Like, white people in Europe also did messed up stuff too. I'm saying, like, hey, we get over that. There are differences in the horrors of slavery and the brutal conquest of Latin America, but their vestiges are largely the same. For too many in America, and I use that term broadly here to mean the whole continent, whether you're black or brown, you are greeted with suspicion. Always the other, even in your own country. Okay, Namor is a bad guy. In the movie, he, for no reason attacks Wakanda and, mercilessly kills people. They say he's an anti-hero. He's not. He's literally a villain, a despot who wants to go to war for no legitimate reason. He says, sooner or later, they'll come for us, so I'll kill them all. Huh? And he invades Wakanda. He goes there and he's like, people know about vibranium now and it's your fault, so you better bring us the scientist or else. And it's like, huh? Like, dude, he's the bad guy. Whatever. They say in a Spanish language interview with El Financiero, Huerta spoke about being followed by a security guard while shopping in Mexico City. Okay, dude, you're in Mexico City. That's where Mexicans are from. If you're being followed by a security guard, I don't think your race is the reason. What? Of being harassed by police while out walking, of taxis passing him by before stopping for his blonde girlfriend. Sound familiar? Yeah. Racism is alive and well in Latin America, and Wakanda Forever is not going to change that. You know what will, though? Disney set for layoffs, targeted hiring freeze, and limiting travel. Dude, you can't. Here's my advice. Why don't you make a movie with characters and don't make their racial and cultural components part of the story? Like, I don't mean that completely. Obviously, it can play a role. Like Black Panther is from Wakanda. That's fine. But why are you making them bang on drums to operate computers? That's just weird. How about the city of Talokan could have also been, like, reasonably developed? Instead, it was like stone huts underground. People were swimming around, and they turn blue when they leave the water or whatever. I don't know why. Maybe because they're oxygen deprived. So, yeah, my advice to Disney is, you can have Talokan. I actually think it's an interesting concept. It is. And I guess the challenge is just that they were like, you have to dry him off to defeat him. And it's like, oh, no. And his back, it is very wet. And so they dry it off. You get the point. I kind of feel like if there's one thing the woke people did get right is that, like, white people don't understand their cultures or whatever. And I mean that. I mean, I'm not surprised that, like, a dude from Ireland doesn't understand Mexican culture. Like, that's normal. You're not from the same places. That being said, I don't think race is the real issue because you can be white, born in Mexico, and truly understand the Central American religions and cultures and things like that. But the thing is, when a overwhelmingly white industry, I guess, makes a movie that's based on racial stereotypes, the woke people cheer for it. So what do you expect to happen? Here we go. Chapek says Disney will be conducting a rigorous review of the company's content and marketing spending, with all of these efforts being overseen by newly formed cost structure task force. The layoffs and cost-cutting news hits 4 days after Disney presented rough quarterly earnings as a result, or earning results, which sent the company's stock tumbling to its lowest price in more than 2 years. Yeah, well, what are you going to do about it, Disney? You can keep making stuff like this. They're saying that Wakanda Forever isn't going to cross $1 billion. And it's a crazy thought. I do want to mention some other funny bits here too. Let's dive into this while we're here. Former Luigi actor John Leguizamo says Chris Pratt's Super Mario movie has backwards casting. It kind of sucks. Huh? John Leguizamo? What are you talking about? Okay, hold on. Is John Leguizamo even Italian? Having two white actors voice Mario and Luigi. Mario and Luigi are white people! Oh, no. Look at this. John Leguizamo is a bit critical of Universal and Illumination's upcoming Mario Brothers movie, which stars Chris Pratt and Charlie Day as Mario and Luigi. Oh, Charlie Day is Luigi. Dude, for real? That's awesome. Charlie Day's great. Leguizamo, who brought Luigi to life opposite Bob Hoskins in the Mario Brothers, said they were going backwards, having two white actors voice Mario and Luigi. He said, I'm OG. A lot of people love the original. I did Comic-Con in New York and Baltimore, and everyone was like, no, we love the old one, the original. They're not feeling the new one. I'm not bitter. It's unfortunate. Mario and Luigi are literally white European plumbers. They're Italian. Mario and Luigi. That's their names, dude. What is wrong with these people? You know what? Whatever, man. I'll be interested to see if Chris Pratt can pull off an Italian, semi-Italian accent or something. Probably not. I don't know. We'll see. Pratt's casting as Mario in the movie has been seen controversial ever since the Guardians of the Galaxy actor joined the movie. Pratt told Variety ahead of the film's trailer debut that his Mario voice was unlike anything you've heard in the Mario world before. But the trailer left many fans baffled as Pratt just sounds like himself, more or less. Pratt said he worked really closely with the directors to craft the perfect Mario voice, adding, "We tried out a few things and landed on something that I'm really proud of, and I'm pretty sure he just talks like himself." Leguizamo spoke out about the movie, saying, "The movie reboot was a good idea, but too bad they went all white, no Latinx in the leads. Groundbreaking colorblind casting in the original." Okay. So when two Italian characters are played by two white guys, it's a problem. Yeah, these people's brains are just broken. I'll tell you what John Leguizamo is really saying. What he's really saying is, why didn't I get the role? I should have been Luigi. Keep crying about it, dude. Keep crying about it while they have segregated movie showings or whatever. All right. I don't know, man. I don't know how you can have an activist base complaining about all this wokeness and then calling for it as long. Here's my point. Here's what I'm trying to say. Everything they complain about was put into a movie seemingly to insult them, and they cheered for it. John Leguizamo exemplifies the absurdity and the lies of the cult so perfectly when he's mad that white actors are playing white characters. What is going... You know what? Whatever, man. I just love that Wakanda Forever is just one of the most overtly racist films. After we were walking out of the theater, everybody was like, did anybody else notice? Like, and we're like, yeah. And we're all laughing about like, wow. So who are we? No, serious question. You know, I don't like racial stereotypes, but apparently the left really, really does. Like everything is about its racial components and identity and all that stuff. I guess they're white supremacists with guilty consciences, or I guess for the black and brown people who support these things, they're actually just ethnocentric or whatever. I saw this video where a white teacher says he's an ethnocentric person, so he's racist, and he thinks his race is superior. And these all the kids are like, so you're racist. And he's like, I didn't say that. What he's saying is everyone is racist. They just don't want to admit it. And so he's in trouble now. And the funny thing is, that's actually what the woke people claim. That's their core tenet. So, John, buddy, keep complaining. Go see Wakanda Forever. Give him your money, I guess. Because like Dave Landau said, so it's the best movie ever. Apparently, I guess, and everyone thinks so. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.